In the wake of the conservatives on the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, you may have seen a bunch of anecdotal stories, some of them on social media, about the unintended consequences of the court's decision and getting rid of Roe versus Wade. There were reports, of course, of people unable to get their lupus or arthritis medication due to the concerns that drugs would be used for an abortion. There were stories about children who are victims of rape having to flee their state to get an abortion in a neighboring state where they're still legal. That, of course, ultimately confirmed, despite an onslaught of misinformation. Now, nearly a month after the Supreme Court ruling, we're starting to see well-sourced reporting that nails down the ground-level insane reality of the post-Roe world, particularly in the world of healthcare. A new piece in the New York Times, they detail how, quote, in Wisconsin, an obstetrician treated a woman who said that just after abortion rights were nullified, she showed up bleeding at a hospital, which determined she had miscarried, but told her they couldn't do a D&C, a procedure commonly done to treat a miscarriage, because of the laws. Not only that, quote, the hospital didn't offer her miscarriage medication either, advising her to find an obstetrician gynecologist to help. By the time she found a doctor who gave her the appropriate medication, the woman had been bleeding intermittently for days, putting her at increased risk of hemorrhage or infection. Dr. Jack Resnick is the head of the American Medical Association. He told the AP, quote, for physicians and patients alike, this is a frightening and fraught time with new unprecedented concerns about data privacy, access to contraception, and even when to begin life-saving care. Joining me now is that doctor, Dr. Jack Resnick, the head of the American Medical Association. Tomorrow, he will be testifying before House Committee on Energy and Commerce about the medical impacts of taking away the constitutional rights to an abortion. It's good to have you on, Doctor. Can you sort of characterize for me doctors, the AMA's concerns about the landscape now post the Dobbs decision in which abortion is outlawed and indeed comes with criminal penalties for doctors in a number of states already?
Well, Chris, thanks for having me on to talk about this really important topic for doctors and our patients. And as you alluded to, this is far more than anecdotes now. I get to talk to colleagues across the country, and many physicians in these restrictive states are finding themselves in just impossible situations. They have patients coming in the door, again, as you said, with ectopic pregnancies, with miscarriages that have developed infections. And literally, they are having to think in their minds and having to call hospital attorneys to get permission to treat patients when their lives are in the balance and when minutes or hours can matter. And it's just devastating for these decisions that really should be between doctors and their patients to be complicated by having legislators and state attorney generals really sort of sitting on your shoulder trying to second guess everything you're doing.
You just mentioned ectopic pregnancies. Of course, ectopic pregnancies are not viable. They can never result in a birth, and the medical care they require is an abortion. I've seen some people who are anti-abortion activists try to say, "Oh, this is just propaganda. We all know that ectopic pregnancies need to be terminated, and this is just the pro-abortion forces trying to muddy the waters." What do you say to that line of argument?
That's just not what we're experiencing on the ground and what we're experiencing with our patients. We're not seeing that these are exaggerations or that they're just anecdotes. This literally is in the back of the minds of my OBGYN colleagues and my emergency medicine colleagues every day when they're seeing these conditions. And we've seen politicians. You saw Texas, for example, this week, saying that they're going to sue the federal government around this EMTALA law, which is the law that normally would preempt state law and tell physicians that, yes, when you have an unstable patient in front of you or somebody who's very sick, you have an obligation to treat them, even if that may involve terminating a pregnancy with their informed consent, of course. So this is literally what we are seeing around the country in these restrictive states.
Just to reiterate what you said, that the sort of federal preemption for emergency care, which was sort of reiterated in the executive order that the president put out, Texas responded by suing. Just to be clear, I mean, what they're saying, I mean, that is the state of Texas and the Texas Attorney General going to federal court to say no, even in conditions of what we call the health or life of the mother, right? Even in urgent emergency conditions, it's the position of our state that you don't just treat the patient in front of you.
Yeah, and we were incredibly happy with that executive order. It's a great step. It is somewhat reassuring, but I think you can understand how physicians are facing really hard decisions, as on the one hand, they have their medical ethics, which directs and really is what drew most of us into the profession in the first place and tells them the best way to take care of that patient in front of them. And on the other hand, I don't think that most physicians feel confident that when the health of a mother is at stake, that they're absolutely safe in some of these states to make the right decision and be able to take care of that patient. And the other thing you got to in your introduction is that this doesn't just affect pregnancies. This doesn't just affect ectopics. This doesn't just affect miscarriages. We're seeing a whole host of medications where our patients can't get access. I happen to be a dermatologist in my day job when I'm not functioning as president of the AMA. I use a drug called methotrexate to treat patients with psoriasis or some kinds of skin cancer like lymphomas. It's a great drug. It also happens to be useful in the treatment of ectopic pregnancies. So in some of these states, my colleagues are literally having their patients show up at the pharmacy and be told by a pharmacist, I'm sorry, I'm too nervous to fill this drug for you, or we're not stocking it anymore, because they might be accused of giving a patient a drug that's also used for abortion. So the spillover effect is quite dramatic.
Yeah, and just quickly, just to reiterate this, I mean, obviously doctors practice under conditions of legal uncertainty and civil liability, but this introduces the possibility of criminal penalty in many of these places, which is just a different thing for doctors, hospitals, and caregivers to consider, I imagine.
Criminalizing the practice of medicine is something that the AMA is always going to stand up and oppose. It's incredibly dangerous. It's dangerous for our patients. It's just... these decisions turn out to be quite complicated in a lot of instances. So trying to make hard and fast rules in legislative bodies that apply the same across the board is just incredibly dangerous for patients.